And if you ask anyone, for example, where I grew up in France, you know, like name an Indian company. They'll say Tata, the cheap cars. That's the only name they will come with. You know, like they don't know no other. And I'm talking about the business guys. If you talk to the common man in the streets, he won't even know Tata. What is Tata for sure?
Hey guys, welcome to Backstage with Millionaires. I'm Caleb, your host, and today the guest that we have on the show is Ram Dwivedi. He's one of the owners of Praveg Dynamics, and he's kind of just like a jack of all trades, essentially. You handle stuff from international relations, you handle investment, management, a bit of PR, so you're pretty much doing stuff across the board. And then also in your own sort of career, you've also worked in economic warfare. You've been a professor of economic warfare in Paris. You're also an investor. So you've had a really interesting life. And I think that's kind of where I want to start the conversation or start the discussion is just tell me a little bit about your background. Like where did you start this amazing journey?
I started in Kashi, in Uttar Pradesh. My family is from there. But my family moved when I was very, very young to Paris. So I grew up as an Indian in France. So that's why I have a French accent with a very Indian name and background and everything. And I studied economic warfare in the French military school. And I'm a teacher now there for like 8 years now. And I came back in India 10 years ago after I finished my studies. And I manage, as you said, investment. I manage funds from French companies to invest in India. And I have my own little, boutique fund. I love, all the innovation, startups, everything. And I'm a professor. I train, people from more than 40 countries in the fields of intelligence and economic warfare. Yeah.
Wow. So how did you actually get involved with Praveg?
I met Siddharth in 2014, and I can tell you a very funny story. We just met for a very corporate business meeting, and we had the same laptop. And it was not a very fancy laptop something, but it was a very, geek laptop, And we said, wow, it's the first time I met someone with this laptop, and after that I never met anyone again with this laptop. And so, we just, started to talk. And he told me that he had this company, Praveg, everything. And we started to work together, but honestly, not on Praveg at the very, very beginning. We worked on many investment things, cross-borders. We started to run some companies together. I met Dhaval also at this time. And I said, wow, this guy is a genius, like a real genius. You meet, you don't meet, often this kind of people. And I'm not a technical person, so for me, it's like he's playing magic. And so we work together for a long time. We work also on some topics that are not at all business, mainly we have a foundation together, and we try to to work on the perception of India, and which is more my background, geopolitics and intelligence. And then when Praveg started to grow, he told me help us to on some specific topics. So then I said okay, with pleasure. And now I do other stuff, but even if I do other stuff, I'm full-time Praveg for sure. And in this company, I think everyone does a bit of everything. For sure, again, I'm not a technical person, so I will never decide about the battery, the engine, everything.
So one thing about Praveg that has sort of stood out to me, talking to you, talking about some of the other people that are involved in this company, is this no jugaad approach to building specifically the Mark I and probably eventually the Mark II. Tell me a little bit about that.
It's a very, very good point. I think jugaad is something that has been labeled to India recently. And it's not a very ancient, know-how in India. If you look at India, and I think even many Indians don't know that, it has been the richest country in the history of mankind. It was like a third of the GDP and a third of the population of the planet for thousands and thousands of years. And we had some problems with some invaders, things happen. And after this time, in the 40s, 50s, we had very limited resources. And jugaad came in, jugaad was very helpful at that time. It's the time of my father, typically. You grew up in a village in Uttar Pradesh, next to Kashi and everything. You need to have, some small fixes to manage your life. And it helped India to grow. I'm not anti-jugaad, I think it helped India to be where we are today. By finding some fix, finding some workarounds, finding some hacks and everything. But the problem is not sustainable on the long run. And I think it's the time now to say no to jugaad when you want to do something great in India. And the funny thing, it's a word that has been used a lot by the West. If you look at it between 2010 and 2015, the word was, growth hacker. all on LinkedIn, you see these guys, you know, like in the Silicon Valley, startup boys and everything. They were growth hackers. And now they are Jugaad experts, or, you know, like this, they use this kind of terms. But if they want to use it, good for them, but we don't want, you know, like to be a Jugaad company. What does it mean? It means, you know, like if we do something, we do it properly, with the best standards in the world, with the best regulation, with the best norms, with the best people, with everything, you know, like top notch, you know. So doesn't mean we'll never use it. Sometimes, you know, it happens, but we try to, you know, like to have, you know, like the best standards for everything, and not use a workaround to do a thing cheaper or whatever. If we want to make something, you know, like to work on the price something, we'll find, you know, like a different concept, you know. As you know, like the car, we don't sell it because we don't do showrooms, but we don't do cheap showrooms, you know. So that's the no Jugaad, you know, like mindset of the company. And I think like many companies in India now will take this path and try to do the things, you know, like the best way possible.
Yeah, that's something that just looking at the specs, for example, or looking at some of the features of the Mark II and eventually the Mark I and eventually the Mark II. You know, they're really impressive.
You can't achieve that with Jugaad.
No.
Yeah, you can make a nice car, everything, but you cannot achieve this specification with Jugaad. Not possible.
So what are some of those features? If you could just kind of go through them and explain some of them.
So if you look at the interior, because I think the engine parts and you know, like all the outside and everything, Dhaval will be much better than me for that. I'm not an interior designer also, but we work a lot together about the interior features, because I know the customers, the people who will use the car, and what we try to achieve is to have, you know, like the best way to move in a city. So I think for every element of the car, we ask ourselves, do other car makers do it because it's a good way to do it? Or, you know, like it's just because it's like this and everyone repeats the same thing. So if you ask yourself, do I need wheels for a car? The answer is yes, you know, like you need 4 wheels, and I think it's the best way to move. So we have 4 wheels. But we ask this, you know, like that can look a stupid question for everything. And for example, if you look at like no car now has, you know, like a air purification system, very few of them. So we say, okay, like the people drive in India, you know, like we are an Indian company, we cater at the first, you know, like for Indian market. So I live in Delhi, for example, you know, like the pollution level is very high. So we have a like fantastic air purification system, and we call it Himalayan air. You know, like we want to give this type of air, you know, like to our customers. And people, you know, like when they use these kind of services, these cars, you know, like to drive for a long time, they need a desk because, you know, like they need to work. So we have a desk for like 15 inches laptops, and you want to plug it. In which car can you plug a laptop, you know? And so you can plug your laptop, and you have, you know, like the best sound system in the world. We have a tie-up with De Vialet. It's a French brand, and they do the best speakers in the world. So we'll have the best sounds in the world. Any car, you know, will beat any car there. And so many features like this, like so many ladies, you know, like will use our cars, and they told us, you know, like I lose 20 to 30 minutes every morning when I wake up to do my makeup, you know. And some guys also with a tie and everything, even if it takes less time. So we say, use this time in the commute time you have in the morning to do your makeup, you know, in the car, and don't do it at home. So you will earn, you know, like half an hour of sleep every day, which makes a lot of sense. So for each feature, and we'll reveal also more features on the long run, we try to have an interior of, for the car that's, you know, like, perfectly suitable for long rides with, you know, like very like inclined seats. You can really sleep in the car, you can walk in the car, you can make your phone calls, you can have entertainment. Yeah, it's the best way to move in a city.
So you were kind of describing a target customer there, right? This hypothetical woman who needs to do her makeup on the way to work. But I wanted to ask you, or maybe dig a little bit deeper into that. Who are the people that are going to be using the services of Praveg?
That's a good question. So we have multiple type of customers. So again, I think everyone starts to understand now we won't sell the car. And it's first I need to answer why we won't sell the cars. Because if you buy a car today, most of the very expensive cars you can have who cost, you know, like above 70 lakhs, it's less than 10 lakhs to make them. So what do you pay? The people who make them are not crooks, you know, like they don't try to cheat you or anything. You pay taxes, you pay margin, which is fine, but you pay mainly showrooms. You pay, you know, like salespeople in the showrooms, and these showrooms are on prime locations. They are very expensive. They are in the best streets in Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, everything. And then you pay ads, so many ads. You see ads for cars every day on TV, you know, like in the radio, on billboards everywhere. And if you watch, you know, like football or cricket, you have, you know, like car, manufacturers as a sponsors. And if you watch any movie festival, you have, sponsors, car manufacturers, they sponsor these festivals. Any Bollywood celebs have car for free from them. That's very, very expensive. And you pay for it. Every time, you buy, you get the key, from a very expensive, car manufacturer, you pay for all that. And doesn't make sense, like us, we just want to make a very good car and give it to the final user. So there will be no one in the middle. And then we can have a very high-end car and not have, a insane price for it. So our customers are people who mainly corporates. So people who go a lot to the airport, for example. So you've seen, we are in Bangalore right now. You have so many companies in the city, and they go to the airport multiple times a day to pick up employees and journalists like you and partners, politicians, every person who want to to come to their place. And we are the perfect way to go to the airport and come back. And if you look at it, the experience you have in planes in India is very high. The airports in India, most of them are very, very good. But when you hit the road, you don't have a seamless experience from your plane to the airport to the road. You will spend maybe 1 hour, sometimes 2 hours if you go south of Bangalore, and you will be like this, for 2 hours in a car that's not so good, in a road not so good. So we want to have a seamless experience there. After some companies also, they have some people in the company, they use the car a lot. We have some customers and some guys drive 6 hours a day because they go, for example, from shops to shops, retail companies, and they need to check all the shops. And so they spend a lot of time. So for them, it's office on wheel. And we want to give them a real office on wheel with no noise, with, again, a desk, plug for the laptop, everything. We look also at tourism companies, like you go to Delhi, you want to see the Taj Mahal, you want to go to Jaipur, everything. The road is not so great. So your experience in Delhi will be nice, the Taj Mahal is beautiful, whatever. But in the middle, it's not so great. So we want to give a very good experience for these people in the middle. That's why also, because we have 500 kilometers of range, we can go to Taj Mahal and come back to Delhi in one charge. For sure, by safety, we'll put one charging station in Agra, but it's possible to do to go and come back in a day. And but so yeah, it's mainly for corporates. But we got so many messages on Instagram, and so many people want also, they are individuals, they don't work for a big company in Delhi, in Bangalore, and they want to use the car also. So for them, we opened this service called Defy.city. We have this domain name called Defy.city. You can just register, and we will have a service for any individuals who can use the car when they want. Any service you can have, and you can use the car when you want through our service.
One thing that I've seen a lot of online, people speculating about Pravig Dynamics, talking about Pravig Dynamics. Oh, these guys are just, importing this car from, let's say, for example, China, right? That's something I've seen a lot of. I don't know if they're actually doing any research to make this discovery or this claim. But I wanted to know, sort of, are these cars primarily Indian in origin in terms of the materials, or are they primarily non-Indian? Are you getting parts from outside of India?
I'll tell you for each part of this company. So the company is Indian. It's a R&D company, so we try to do the maximum of things in-house. So it started in Jaipur, in the outskirts of Jaipur in 2011. And most of the team is Indian. We welcome foreigners. We have few foreigners who work for the company. And we are very happy to have more foreigners in the company, even if mainly the majority of the company are Indian people. We are based in India. The thought process is made in India. The car will be manufactured in India, so it's a made in India product. And for the parts, something that is very specific to us, we make the battery ourselves. So you are right now in a battery factory. So we are the first place in India where we have a high capacity battery factory for cars. We are the only one to do that in India. And so it's an Indian product. If you look at the weight of the car, it's almost 2 tons. It's mainly the huge part of it is Indian. But in terms of value in the car, there are some elements, and these elements are costly in the car, that are not from India. We have some elements like the sound system, as I tell you, it's from France, Even if we assemble it, in India, the speakers are from France because we don't have a company in India doing this kind of sound. And the sales of the batteries are from another country of Asia, not China, because we don't have it, And really, it's a topic I would like to address. It's a problem in India. There are many things. If you're an Indian company like us today and you don't want to go in the market and buy some things, it's not possible. The worst thing for us is the chips. India is not making one chip. We have to import chips from, South Korea, Taiwan, Japan, whatever. many companies are able to produce chips today, but India we have zero capacity of chips, And then like we have no options, like for sure we have to import them. We would love to buy, like local, chips, but it's just not possible. And it's something that needs to change. I think, like the whole ecosystem. If we want to have, like electric cars in the future in India, we need to have the whole ecosystem. We are just one part of the ecosystem. And right now we need to produce like hundreds of millions of electric vehicles in the next, decades. It's very, very short time. So we need to have this ecosystem. And it's a big challenge for us.
Yeah, that was one question that I wanted to ask, and I think you kind of answered it. If you could make the vehicle entirely in India using Indian parts, you would?
Yeah, I would, absolutely. But it's just not possible today. No one can claim, it's 100% Indian, like a vehicle, everything. It's just not possible.
You're headquartered in Bengaluru. You've also got an office in Delhi.
Yeah.
And so what exactly are those buildings? Like what are the different sort of places where you're doing things, and also what are your plans for the future in terms of different buildings or different like a factory or a manufacturing center or R&D center? Like what are your plans in the future for that?
So we have one office in Delhi. The office in Delhi is not working on the car itself, but it's everything around the life of the company. So it's mainly like administration and some marketing, photographers, and some design team. So we have a very, very good team in Delhi for that. But they don't work on the car, itself. Everything else is in Bengaluru, where you are right now. So we have this battery factory where we'll be able to manufacture the batteries for the car. And above us, it's in construction right now, but we have a R&D center. So because it's in construction right now, we are using another office very close from here for the team right now. But in a few months, we'll be able to move there and have our huge R&D center here. We'll be able to do like fantastic tech here. And for the assembly of the car, it won't be here. Like we are working with a partner who will assemble a big, industrial partner who will assemble the car for us in India, for sure. Everything in India.
Okay. What are your dreams for the space?
We work with some of the best architects in the world. I'm a big fan of architecture, so like we really want to have an incredible space for the office. And then from there we'll expand in the area we are. We're in the airport area of Bengaluru, and we'll expand from there. In the neighbors, like the lanes you can see around us right now, like we'll move there. But we'll stay here, yeah.
Gotcha. And I know you've sort of, since you've left stealth mode, right? You've sort of publicly announced or shown off the Mark 1,
yeah.
And then eventually the Mark 2 will kind of come out to the public probably in 2021. But you've gotten a crazy influx in people applying for jobs here at Pravig, right? So I just wanted to know kind of like, who are the kinds of people that you are looking for to work here at Pravig Dynamics?
The best in the world, that's the only thing we are looking at. So yeah, to elaborate on that, the company, like many people ask us, like why you didn't never talk about the company or whatever. We are R&D company, like if we don't have something good, like to propose to the public, there is no point like talking about it. So we were in stealth mode like for 9 years. And when we were, able to be almost hitting the road, like we didn't, disclose the company just the day we launched the product, but we are 1 year from the launch. So I think it's a good time, like people can wait for 1 year. And we don't want also like to tell the public that we'll do something, it will come in 5-6 years. I don't think the people are able to wait for that long, 1 year is fine, it's what you wait for a video game or something. We have some bad example with Cyberpunk these days. We waited a lot for this game. But, and it was a bit like, whatever. I won't comment on that game. Sure. It will be good after a lot of patches, but we don't want to have that and release something and need to patch it a lot.
That's more of a Jugaad approach,
Yeah, it's too Jugaad. These guys are too Jugaad. Sorry, CD Projekt. I think in June, I opened the Instagram account and we started to post some stuff. And like it was, we didn't even say, people were not true, like is it a artistic, like a thing, or it is a real car or whatever. But the day we posted videos of the car on the road, like people say, okay, then it's real, But still, like we just have a very basic website and nothing. And the 4th of December of this month, so just like, few weeks ago, we did a big event in Delhi with press and something. And then we did the emergency event. And we announced everything that you can, I think it's from where also you discover us, like most of the public, because no one knew us before that. And so yeah, that was our strategy. And to answer about a hiring process, so we already have a big team right now. Some people think we are just like 5-6 people in a garage, but we are crossing 80 people right now. So yeah, we are not a huge company, but for a car company, we are not a big team. But yeah, we have a very, very decent team, and we are looking for the best people in the world in each sector. From design, engineering, even for administration, everything. So we try to attract people from all over the world. Please don't come to the office with a CV or something. Like, we have no process for welcoming you there. But there is a page. It's called praveg.com/careers, I think. Yeah, you can just apply there, upload your CV. And I think we receive north of 300 applications per day right now. So our head of HR, I salute him because he has a very tough jobs these days.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And so the dimension of this place also, it's why it's so big, it's for that reason.
So that there's more space for people.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So this is a lot of people, this is a lot of space, this is a lot of many years that have gone into creating this vehicle. And I just wanted to touch on something that I think is really important, but it's a question that a lot of people are asking, like, how has this been possible financially? You haven't actually sold anything. You don't have any customers, right? So how has that happened? You guys aren't bootstrapped, I'm assuming, right?
So yeah, in fact, many people they talk about startups, and I love startups, but we are not a startup. That's the answer I have to tell you. We have a long experience in the industry to raise funds, manage funds. We have a long experience, industry. We did projects in renewable energy. So a lot of us are from the energy background in terms of investment. So we understand exactly what is a grid, what is a charging infra, what is, IPP. I mean, all these terms, around the world of energy. Yeah, we are not a small company in a garage, started like this. And I have a huge respect for these people because I see already for us it's tough, honestly, and nothing is easy. But for these people who start with no network, no, way to understanding of how to raise funds and everything, it should be very, very tough. So it's a fantastic job to them. But we have these 10 years of, experience behind us. And so, yeah, we have been able to, and it was also because we had people who follow us for a long time and who trust in, in the company, trusted us, that we have been able to do R&D for so long. I think it's a big challenge in India right now. People who do R&D, deep tech and everything, it's hard for them to find investors who are able to follow them for years, Everyone is okay to put money in a dating app, e-commerce website, everything, and it's fine, I have no problem with that. But when you come to investors and you say, okay, I want to do science, applied science, deep tech, everything, and when your product will come, it's okay, in 5 years. No, it starts to be difficult. And no bank will ever follow you, no small VC or everything will follow you. So that's why it has been possible, and things should change, yeah.
One other thing that I wanted to touch on, kind of moving in a completely different direction here, is this, the vehicle, the way that the text on the vehicle is written, the typeface that you guys have used, the language on the website, belligerence, defiance, right? These are really strong words. These are really strong ideas. There's a very strong, you just get this impression, right? It doesn't, there's some vehicles that you look at the vehicle, you look at the website, and it doesn't really leave any impression on you, right? But the impression that I get from Praveg, anytime I see anything connected to Praveg, it's like very strong impression. So what is that all about?
First of all, it's because that's who we are. As I said, my background, I can say it's intelligence. So that's really our backgrounds, and you see the way we dress up, the way we talk, everything. We really live that life. And so we don't want to do something that's not us, and some other people can do something different, it's fine. And I think it's also something that it's needed right now. Some people cannot like it, some people will love it. But if we want to play, at the world level and everything, you need to be there. And what's a bit sad right now, it's, I grew up as an Indian abroad, and when you talk to Indians abroad, they are like, yeah, India is very great because the CEO of Google, Alphabet is Indian, the CEO of Microsoft is Indian, everything. It's great, fantastic guys, very smart people, but these companies are not Indian, And if you ask anyone, for example, where I grew up in France, name an Indian company. They'll say Tata, the cheap cars. That's the only name they will come with. They don't know no other. And I'm talking about the business guys. If you talk to the common man in the streets, he won't even know Tata. What is Tata for sure? And if you want to go fast there and be an international brand, you need to. There is no other way. You need to fight. And maybe it's something that we are lacking a bit in India right now. It's this fighting culture. These things where you need a bit of biceps and be able, to fight in the ecosystem. So that's what we want to bring. We are peaceful people, we won't kill anyone. But that's really a mindset we try to like have in the company, and really like be at war. And honestly, also like there is a lot of techniques in the company. There are a lot of processes that come directly from my military background.
That's something that definitely comes across in the branding. It's very like aggressive, which personally I think is really cool.
Thank you.
But hey, I'm young, I'm male, I'm in my 20s, so that that's sort of like is. But then again, you're kind of.
I think females love it also. Yeah, I don't think at all it's a male thing. Yeah, but yeah, maybe the young part and everything is fine. But when so many cars companies, they want to have a car for everyone, and it's a big challenge, and they are very, very, very good at it, when BMW release a car, they need to release the car for a girl who's 16 years old in the US. She has the money and her parents give her the gift when she turns 16. But also to a business guy in Japan, to a guy who's like in the middle age, like in Russia, in Kenya, whatever. So they try to make product that will please everyone, and it's very, very difficult to do. And they make it, in a very, very good way. But us, we know who we want to like the car for who it's made. We are talking, at least at the beginning, for Indian people in big cities who are, mostly young. And I don't want to convince the guy who's 60 plus and he likes his Mercedes S-Class to move to Praveg. He will always like it, and it's fine. It's a fantastic car, no problem. But it's not our target customers. So for this kind of people, I think this kind of, like statements and everything will work.
Okay, so everybody knows, well, not everybody, but if you go on YouTube and you look for S-Class interior, right, you're going to see a video of someone describing every little stitch, every little feature, right? How does the interior, specifically of the Mark II, Mark II, how does that compare to, let's say, the interior of an S-Class?
It's very different, like S-Class is a fantastic car. And I could say the same for Rolls-Royce, Bentley, Maybach, whatever. They are very good cars. But first of all, if you go to S-Class, the best seat in a S-Class is a driver's seat. If you go in Germany and you go to a showroom and you say, okay, I want to try the car, they'll put you in a driver's seat, and it is the best seat. Us, it's the other way around. The driver's seat is very good. We want the driver to be super comfortable and everything. But the best seats are behind, because we are a car made for passengers. And there are not many countries where we have the mindset of, like making vehicles for passengers. So the quality you will have for the passengers, is very, very high. After, for sure, maybe the S-Class will use some very expensive leather or something that where I don't think it will bring a lot of value for our customers. But in terms of feature, will be much, much, much higher. As I said, I won't repeat myself, but like the plugs for the laptop, the air purification, the sound system, everything will be much higher. And also there is a partition. So, you have a partition between the driver. You can remove it, take it up and down between the passengers and the driver. And I think with the COVID also right now is something that a lot of people ask us to have, to have like a bubble. And in fact, if you look at it, if you walk in the office and everything, you won't see people looking much about the competition in terms of, like interiors. We don't really look at them. What they do is great, but we don't get inspired at all by them. If we get some inspiration, it's more like from the business class of very good, like airlines, Singapore Airlines, for example, to not name one. But I think what they do in terms of comfort is much, much, much higher, and it's where we can gather, some knowledge, some know-how about the interior. And one more thing also for the interior, like just before I told you, they do these brands, they do cars for people who are all over the world, from different age, different background, for different like snowy, like landscape or very hot or whatever. Us, we know who will use the car. So we can have something much, much more tailored for them. If you look at the interior of any brand, any price of car, it's always beige or black or some burgundy. There are only 3-4 colors. Us, we can do something totally different. Like if you want a private car with interior like electric blue, we can do it. We can do something much, much more, like vivid and everything. And also the big difference is if you own a car, you pay for the keys and you will have the same, like S-Class, whatever, for 4 years, for example, which I think is the average, like time where people own a car. You want something simple because you will be in the same place for a very long time. But if you just use the car sometimes, you can have something much more, like bright, colorful, nice, different, You'll be happy for that. It's like, you go to a restaurant, the design is fantastic. You won't live there in this restaurant. You won't have that in your kitchen. But to go like once every month there in that place, you think it's fantastic. So that's why also our car is so different in terms of inside colors, design, everything, because it won't be something that you will live inside, like on a daily basis, So for some customers who will live it on a daily basis, we'll have something more simple. We can customize the car a lot. That's also because we do like small quantities. But for services, we'll have something like absolutely incredible. And I can tell you like a good information, we'll partner with we'll partner with artists, with different kind of, like people making cool stuff to do some customization inside the car.
I love that.
Yeah, we'll have limited series of Praveg with very, very, very interesting artists.
You're essentially, I mean, the thing that I love and the thing that's unique is that the business model is shaping the vehicle instead of you guys basically trying to copy what other people are doing, right? You're doing something completely different, and doing something completely
The
different
usage drives the R&D.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Doing something completely different calls for the interior to be completely different, and the shape of the vehicle, and the way that it runs, and the features that you've included. So I can't wait to actually take a ride in one of these. I think it's going to be super exciting, and specifically the Mark II. I know Mark I is kind of like...
Yeah, it's a prototype for engineering. Yeah.
Exactly, specifically for engineering. But when the Mark II comes around, I just, I'm going to be on that list of...
Okay, so let's drive the Mark I for today.
Yeah.
And let's have a test drive. And next time you come, it will be MK2.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's do it.